All right, we're back here with another podcast. Last episode we had Lore Master of Sotek. This episode we brought back an oldie but a goodie, and the very first Coda Total War. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I am great. There's all sorts of goodness that's been happening lately. All the Norsca.
So much good stuff.
I know, dude. Like, you got access to to Norsca early, right?
I did. Yeah.
Ooh, so you got to jump into the Norsca, balls deep in the Norsca a little bit earlier than I did. But how have you been liking like the DLC as a whole?
Oh man, I absolutely love it. I'm less critical, but even I think that the kind of overall attention to detail, not that there's that doesn't mean that there's not mistakes, but the overall attention to detail, like what you get from both campaign, single player, and multiplayer is just a lot right in this one. I totally agree, and I like how they were saying like this is kind of like a taste of things to come, because it's like they were saying some of this is going to tease you as to some features we're adding with Total War Warhammer 2, and I think that's like what we're going to see in the Total War Warhammer 2 campaigns are going to be kind of similar to the fleshed out, better, more streamlined Norsca campaigns. Yeah, I mean like the monster hunt. What's good about like stuff like that is it allows like different people to enjoy the game differently, and that's how you grow. So I love that. Like there's a huge single player audience just as there's a huge multiplayer audience, right? So
dude, I only played single player through Rome Total War all the way up until this game, until Turin got me into doing this. Like I had not touched multiplayer once in any of these games.
It's there's however you enjoy it is how you should do it.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is like I haven't even touched a monster hunt. Like I think after I get off this video with you, I'm going to go like start a monster hunt, because everyone's saying, dude, the monsters are so fucking sick. I'm like, what are they like?
It is cool, man. It's like the armies are cool, the abilities are cool. They really went in.
Yeah,
they did.
I dig it. I really like the aesthetic of the armies too as a whole. Like, oh man, like I've always been a big fan of like Norse and Vikings and stuff like that. So it's like you play an army like Norsca, which is themed heavily off of that. You got these fucking werewolves like trudging across the battlefield, and all these like varying like berserkers and shit like that. It's so cool.
Yeah, I like that. Like, okay, so think about this for a second. Like, Creative Assembly now has pretty much brought Norsca to life in a way that Games Workshop didn't have, like a model range, you know. So that would be a first. So I think that's cool that they're taking that liberty. They're going there.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of got like a little bit of a sampler of them doing that with Bretonia and like the Royal Pegasus Knights and the Hippogriff Knights. And I think that this kind of shows us as Total War players and as Games Workshop fans that they can take a source material that is very, very, very vacant as far as depth goes and create a very deep, interesting lore on their own merit. Like that's Creative Assembly's creation is Norsca. Outright. Yeah. Like sure, it's got its roster from White Dwarf, but it's nowhere near as fleshed out as what they did. They took a lot of different source material and made a really, really, really good faction, I think.
I agree. That's why it's creative. Something. You know, I mean, people are hard on, you know, people are hard on them, you know, and I get it. They're not any harder on them than like, you know, any other video game fan is on video game companies, but they really do a good job, and they have to juggle a ton of shit when you think about mechanics and lore and like, I don't know.
No, I agree, man. Because I mean, for a lot of people, like this is their baby. Like this, I mean, this is my imaginative childhood. Like, I mean, this is what I grew up reading about, and it's like to see it all come to life in a video game with the graphics level that this game has, and like the attention to detail this game has is so fucking cool. Like I'm so hyped up for the second one. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I agree, man. So let's see. As far as the Norsca roster goes, do you have a favorite unit? Dude,
I don't know. So like, I have to say the Skinwolves in general. Like, okay, the Werekin is fucking amazing. Like, it's so strong,
dude.
Yes. Like, agreed, stamped.
I wasn't gonna cut you off. Agreed.
And the armored ones are so damn cool. And then I really, really dig this normal Skinwolf. Like the fact that they're anti-large and I can like sweep them through like a gap really quick because they're so damn fast. They're the speed of normal cav, of like a Bretonnian heavy cav, so they can get to places and do some serious damage. I'm all for the Skinwolves, man.
I think that's a great choice.
What are your thoughts on the Fimir though?
Okay, so I think that the Fimir are really good. They're it's because though of their armor.
Because of their armor or their sundering?
They're honestly like, so everything's good, but their armor value, like that's high. That's objectively high. Not like for Norsca. That's like dwarf. I mean, that's right now I think it only goes up to 120 for like Ironbreakers and shit like that, you know?
Yeah, they have like 100 or 110, I can't remember. The Fimir, I mean.
Fimir are 110.
Yeah, holy fucking hot shit.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and there's only like 9 of them or 12 depending on what size you're playing on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're durable. So I've had success like because they have sort of low leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give them some experience or chevrons, and they stick around, they're durable, and they do armor sunder is really valuable. That's another thing that like that used to only be for regiments of renown, right? Like this is the first faction to have it. I want to say, oh shit.
I think the nasty skulkers.
Don't quote me.
Don't the nasty skulkers have sundering?
So the rusty R's do. The dwarf Peakgate Guard, the new Chaos Spawn, and basically the Miststalkers, and now all the Fimir warriors. But before all those other units are regiments of renown. So I'm trying to think if there's like an artillery piece or something, or like a lord.
There's some artillery pieces. I'm sitting here like typing in, trying to find it up, and I can pull the game up too, I guess, at the same time. But like the fact that like you can stack Sunder armor with so much, like okay, I can use, and I mentioned this in my Fimir video, and I was talking to Turn about this. Lore of Metal got a really great buff, and not so much a buff.
Dude, everything changed. But yeah,
right?
Go ahead.
Well, no, I totally agree. Like you can use Lore of Metal now to like extremely good use, because you have like what is it, the Rust and Decay or whatever the hell it is, where it's minus 30 armor on top of sundering armor capability. And then if you've got Big Papa Wulfric, his Lord, let's go fucking tussle or whatever the hell the ability is, this is a minus 30 armor too. It's like you have a minus 90 armor on a unit, like holy shit, dude, like goodbye. Like I've been burning down lords with those two, with Wulfric and the Skinwolf with a Lord Metal so fast lately.
Man, I mean, they're definitely good at it. Armor Sunder, like you said, you know, it's a force multiplier, right? And like, so Skinwolves normally they don't pierce armor, and the Berserkers probably, in my opinion, my favorite infantry unit. They do so much damage again, but they don't do armor piercing.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I like the Fimirs. I do think that they're kind of like clumsy. I get it, you know.
Yeah. Bit more of a niche pick, you know.
They're so weird too.
Big old like cyclopean beaked demon creatures.
I love it.
Imagine waking up right next to one and it's just like petting you with its hairy knuckles.
It's hairy or scaly?
A little bit of both.
So I like you, I like the Skinwolf Werekin. I think that, so I don't want to be like, hey, this is gonna get a nerf, or like it should get a nerf. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if it did, in terms of its cost.
You mean the Gore Bowl 2.0?
Right, except he's a lot cheaper.
Right.
And I think it was kind of like, I don't know if you caught this at all, but it was kind of up in the air for a while exactly how and where they counted as large and not large.
The Werekin?
The Werekin and all the Skinwolves. So like, you know how like non-large units like infantry get a like melee attack and speed reduction in like shallow water and things like that.
Right.
And then, you know, if something has an anti-infantry bonus or an anti-large bonus, you know, it applies. Well, apparently, and I don't know what the status is right now, but the last that I heard, the Skinwolves were actually counted as infantry for the purpose of those terrain debuffs, but counted as large for like anti-large bonuses. So I don't know. I think that might be
very interesting. I see, like, you and like Gobbo King and like Turin, you guys know a lot about like the behind the scenes stats when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like
those guys are on a different level, but
that's true. It's true. I mean, like I'll look at fucking like Gobbo King's videos, or I'll chat with him and he'll like tell me all these things and I'm like, dude, that's a value in the game. When did they add that? Like,
dude, he's so smart.
Yeah. Like, I think he's a civil engineer. He's gonna correct me.
I guess I don't want to say anything. I think he has at least 2 master's degrees.
Yeah, he just completed one or something like that. Like, biggest idiot I've ever met is what I'm trying to say. In short, dumbest guy I've ever talked to.
What a dope. And also knows nothing about Warhammer or spells.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to add, he's just like, oh, look, I'm really good with numbers, and he was like 1 + 1 = 11. I'm like, okay, I did that joke when I was in fucking high school, man. Stop.
Dude, I love corny jokes. That's our generation,
right?
I was gonna say, like, the Werekin. I love the Skinwolf Werekin. Frenzy's amazing. Regeneration. I love that you can give him armor, and then he in turn gives armor around him. So all that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's right. I thought you were saying like armored, like they could become armored. Werekin. I'm like, what? No, but yeah, his thing that like gives a buff around him into the armor value. Yeah, like that regeneration is huge. Like I had a fight with that went on forever, and the regeneration is what kept those Werekin in the game. Like, can't say how much I love them.
I've seen that firsthand. I've been trounced by Norsca like plenty of times already, you know. But in the end game is like important in all Total War games, I feel like, but you know, in this one as well. And units with regeneration are there in the end game, so.
Oh yeah. Well, that, like, a lot of people too, and not just to segue off of the Skinwolves, another really good combination that people have been talking about is you use Fimir on top of Berserkers, and you let the Fimir hit into the unit, and the Berserkers come in and fill the gaps around them, and they basically are using the centered armor, like you were alluding at, to just kind of buzz through things. And I'm like, yes, I want to hear more of these things.
Have you had fun with the Mammoths, or any experience or thoughts?
So on my Saturday stream, I did, to close up the stream, people were like, dude, do all Mammoths. And I was like, all right, I'm fucking
online.
Yeah. What?
Online?
Oh yeah. I did a full Moa-kill Mammoth fuck party. And it was the Regiment of Renown one, the War Shrine, the normal Mammoth, and Wulfric. I think it was 5. It might have been one more additional Mammoth. But it was that against a Wood Elf army. And right? And we're gonna probably get into this soon when we talk about easiest and hardest matchups for Norsca, but Wood Elves are like not the best thing to fight against, especially some Wood Elves have a lot of like anti-large. And we beat the shit out of them. Like it was a pretty, it looked like it wasn't going well at first, and then things started to like just snowball to a win, and I was really surprised. Like, those Mammoths are monsters.
They are.
Quite literally.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You know, I think that 5 Mammoths can win against like a normal build, whereas maybe 5 like other monsters can't really.
Right, like 5 Terrorgeists.
You know what I mean?
I'm like, 5 Terrorgeists, whatever, they'll lose. I feel like 5 of any large creature like that, like in the previous races, like 5 feral manticores, go fuck off. Or like 3 forest dragons, if not supported by like an actual army, they'll die. Like, the fact that makes them so strong is that the Mammoth, like the strength of like a Terrorgeist or like a Manticore is that it's flying, right? Well, a Mammoth's not flying, so it doesn't have to worry about like losing out on half of its strength.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, I think that the unit as a whole is balanced in and of itself, like all of them, but I think more than 2 is, I think like it should be a cap, not like a change to the unit, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. In the tabletop, you know how it's like you can only have 0 to 1 rare unit of this this specific rare unit. It'd be interesting if they did do that, because I mean, think about it. Well, here's what I think that they did. They did not cap it because they know that there's going to be lizardmen, which are going to have all of their dinosaurs. There's going to be high elves, which are going to have their phoenixes, their eagles, all that goodness, and there's going to be the dark elves, which are going to have
hydras.
Yeah, hydras. Thank you. Black dragons. hopefully the Cryptus is a regiment of renown.
That'd be cool.
And monstrous beasts. So I think that we're gonna, and you've even got Skaven with the Hell Pit Abominations and Rat Ogres. So I think we're gonna see that to be kind of like a norm of these monstrous creatures that even in the tabletop has what has been the distinguishing factor between the Empire or Bretonnia. Like they don't have monstrous creatures. Like the Hippogriff is kind of like the closest thing Empire gets.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I think that they're trying to show that is a thing, and it is a differentiating factor. It is a high cost differentiating factor. Like you can't really field a lot of mammoths in a normal army. You can field 1, 2, and then in your army, or you can field all 5. But you can't. Right. You can't like strike a hard balance. It's got to be like, okay, you're giving up a huge portion to field one.
It's so funny, dude. Like before, when I was first starting out, like I had no idea what I was doing. Still arguably have no idea what I'm doing. But
I'm like stupid.
I did this little like podcast, right? Like basically talking to myself, talking to no one. And I did a podcast about monsters and the lizard men and how I thought that Creative Assembly, by the time Total War Warhammer 2 came out, that Creative Assembly basically were going to overhaul monsters because they needed it. And, obviously no one watched it or anything like that, which is fine. But a lot of what and this isn't like I was right or wrong, but
I'm the prophet.
Because I was like all talking about the lizard men. And like, I was like, yeah, in order to like make the Bastiladons and Stegodons and Carnosaurs and stuff, like they can't be Ragnarok spiders,
Right.
And they can't be giants. Like there has to be something in between. They have to like take a kind of like the game-changing power of a Shaggoth and apply it, speed and armor, things like that, and apply it to basically being more than just an anti-large one hit,
Totally agree.
The War Mammoth is pretty much exactly what I thought the Stegodon or Carnosaur was going to be. And I think that they're going to be a lot like it still.
Yeah, I'm so excited for like Bastiladons and like the spawning pool one, or like the Sunarch one where it's shooting fucking sunbeams of doom. Like
Luminarch Mammoth, basically.
Yeah, the Luminarch Mammoth, the pimp chair mammoth. And like it's exciting because it makes me really like Total War Warhammer 2 is obviously going to add factions, but it's not just going to be a faction adder. It's going to definitely change the meta and how the game plays. Like, because I think they learned, okay, so Total War Warhammer 1, I think you and I can both agree is a great game, but the polish that they've already put on it with just Norsca alone makes my nipples just harder than fucking rock diamond when I think about how Total War Warhammer 2 is going to be.
Agreed. I mean, yeah, production and budget has gone way up.
Oh yeah, and it shows too. I mean, like this map is huge. It's huge, and we'll get into that too. We're already jumping ahead.
No, it's fine, man. We can jump around. Who cares?
Jump around.
The one other thing about the War Mammoth, I was just gonna say, like, the reason that 5 of them win, I think, instead of, where things like giants and even Shaggoths don't necessarily, is 1, because of the HP pool,
right,
and 2, because of the splash damage, the sheer like surface area that they cover. Like those things are built to destroy an entire infantry line. And I don't think anything splash damage so far has been quite that big. So I don't know a lot about mass.
Shaggoths like, kind of get, I say Shaggoths and Kolak are kind of the closest thing to it because
yeah.
Or I mean, like,
no, I agree.
I've been cyclocharged by like White Kings on like Krell, like repeatedly 2 or 3, and if you have something that keeps infantry units down, those infantry units can't stand up to do damage. And if you've got 5 mammoths just trudging through, even if they're like halberdiers that are like anti-AP, anti-large, charge against large, defense, fuck them all, put them in the butt, like they'll still win because they're not standing up. They're not standing up long enough to do the damage to the mammoth.
Right, like the mammoths, the surface area around the mammoth is only so big, so only so many models can hit him at a time, and the amount of damage that he does back is now like half that radius. So he does more damage to the area around him than like any combination of units in that area could dish back.
Right.
So he's always trading efficiently. Not any, if there's 5 Shaggoths around him, he's dead. But, and I mean, there are other units like the Royal Altdorf Griffites take him down. Right.
The ones that are supposed to are the hard counters are hard counters. And Creative Assembly has always done a really good job of that. Like, even though Shogun Total War is pretty much like a lot of the same stuff, the rock, paper, scissors of that game is very evident. And this game's got a lot
of mind games.
the games of the mind, the tactics. This game's got like a lot more elements to it, a lot more layers, but those hard counters are still there. And I think that's what makes it so fun and interesting, because it's like finding that new hard counter.
I agree. You never know what you're gonna get. That's part of like the fun of multiplayer.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of multiplayer, then, what do you think's the easiest matchup, or at least the hardest matchup for Norsca? Like, how would you peg that?
Oh boy, I think I would say hands down the hardest. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Beastmen probably have it the hardest, followed by Vampires and Greenskins. Those three I have it the hardest. I think...
Or you have the hardest fighting them, or they have it the hardest fighting Norsca?
I think Beastmen, Vampires, and Greenskins have the toughest time against Norsca.
Oh, okay. So you would say they are the easiest matchup for Norsca against them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that there's some balancing issues there. I don't think that they have a ton of answers. They don't have a ton of great missiles. I guess the Greenskins do. They're just kind of shorter ranged and weaker. Dwarves are somewhere in the middle. They have missiles. But yeah, dwarves do okay. They have the brimstone guns as well. And I think Empire, Bretonnia, Wood Elves, and Chaos have best chance against them.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Like, actually, you know what? I'll contest you.
Wood Elves below those. Yeah, Wood Elves below the other three. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Wood Elves. I find I have the hardest time against because their range is so far. But then again, Empire can kit real heavy against Norsca real easy. So I think that, you know, that's a pretty... I'd say Norsca has the hardest time probably against Empire with Wood Elves below it, because I actually don't find Chaos to be that big of a threat. I think there's a lot of like ways to counter Chaos in the Norsca roster, as far as like anti-large goes, or being able to sunder armor, or even just using the Lore of Metal with the the shamans to good effect. So I see a lot of ways to beat. You could take champions with great weapons, and they trade a little bit. They trade pretty hard into warriors of chaos. So it's like you have a pretty interesting army, because Norsca is not supposed to be like bitch slapping around warriors of chaos so well. But I've had I had a pretty easy time against them, which is surprising.
There was some rustling about that, wasn't there? Public outcry about like Marauder champions being better than the unit they were aspiring to. I don't know. Maybe it came and went. There was kind of...
I didn't see it, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It was kind of nitpicky. Yeah. So I guess like the whole thing was that the two elite infantry choices for Norsca are the Marauder champions, and they aspire to be Chaos Warriors, who they happen to have a lot better stats than, in some ways, not in all ways. So, but I mean, it was just like a little lore nitpick. So it's really
because it's like you have the Marauders, which are kind of like low tier Chaos infantry fodder units. You get to just send out units, then those Marauders ascend to Warriors of Chaos, and it's like a huge thing for them. They get a better stat line, they're a lot more durable, all this action, and it's like you look at it in the Norsca roster, and it's not that way. They don't have the armor, of course, of like a Chaos Warrior, but they're still a very like stalwart frontline unit, rather than kind of like the chaff that is the normal Marauder.
Yeah, I don't really take them.
Normal Marauders.
They're so expensive. No, I do. The champions, they're so. I mean, they cost as much as Black Orcs.
Interesting. I only take champions. I take champions and Berserkers.
Berserkers are so good, dude. Berserkers and javelins.
Oh yeah.
Dude, javelins are crazy. Like I would, again, like, not saying like should get nerfed, but wouldn't be surprised if something happened.
Because there's so goddamn many of them. And it's kind of like they're like the greenskin range. There's so many greenskins on the field shooting at archers or shooting arrows, but they're not that great. But with the Norscan javelins, I feel like there's so many of them, and they're doing damage at a shorter range, but they're doing damage. They also like rip through your own units pretty hard, so you got to kind of be careful with them.
Yeah, I mean, they cost only 400, right? And like again, something large. Each guy in that unit does like 50 damage. That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you've got the hunters at 550 a unit, and they just rip up armor. They rip up armor, which makes them, in my opinion, that's what like makes them such a hard counter for chaos, from what I've seen at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Just hucking axes across the battlefield like fucking crazy barbarians.
So before we can move on to the patch, but I just want to ask you one thing: Wulfric or Throg for you?
Oh, dude. Oh, you see.
if you could only play one for the rest of your career,
that's fucked up.
As a pod tuber.
As a pod tuber, which sounds like some sort of like elegant way of saying I'm gonna have my semen put into a little tiny thing and jammed into the ground, and then 7 years from now we're gonna have a fucking mutant baby come out of it. But pod tuber, but
yeah, crazy man.
Thank you. Throg okay, so Throg always had like a pretty like soft spot in my heart, because he was a really, really good tabletop lord. A lot of people didn't choose him though, because there were better lords to choose. But if you ever wanted to field trolls, he was the choice, because he was actually a very decent lord for the amount of points he was. But I'd have to go with Wulfric because I'm like, okay. I just like his abilities more. I like his lore a little bit more, that he can like perfectly insult someone in their native tongue, like without error. And I think that's fucking awesome.
He's badass.
Oh yeah. I mean, his look too is really, really great and really iconic.
Dude, I told you, he's Euron Greyjoy and Tormund together.
100%. 100%. Fucking
psychopathic Viking pirate.
Dude. And if they add Valkia the Bloody too, his Brienne of Tarth, he's just gonna be going for that ass the whole time. Just chagrining at her.
You see the episode yesterday when he asked about the big woman?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, God damn it, fucking figures, Tormund, you big bastard, just hunting down large hood rats.
Dude, and now the Hound's with him. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the newest episode of
oh fuck. Sorry about that.
Well, you didn't really reveal anything. If you haven't seen it, go see it. There was a beginning and a middle and an end of the episode, so that's your spoilerless review. Okay, so we did get a new patch with Norsca. I don't know a ton about it. I know that the Fey Enchantress got a nerf. I know that Raised Dead got a nerf, and Lore of Fire got a nerf, or a buff. But what do you know, and what have you noticed, and what have you said? What are some things that you notice are fucking great, and what things have you noticed that are just not so good, or at least just don't have any bearings on anything?
Yeah, sure. I think that the biggest impact change is the Fey Enchantress / Earthblood, but I think everybody kind of knew it was coming. She got hit pretty hard. In my opinion, it's a little bit too hard because it's coming from 3 ways. Like, her price went up, Earthblood went down in effectiveness, and then her aura that's kind of the biggest one. Her aura got nerfed. So, but that's okay. Bretonnia is still strong. She still has her uses. Lore of Life still has its uses, even though I do find, obviously, Earthblood is less effective, but I think that it's still useful. But the other one, the Dwellers Below, that's like a nuke now.
Oh, really? So, it actually does some serious damage?
Yeah, like serious damage. Really crazy. So it's interesting though. It costs a lot. Other big change, zombie summon. I think that's good, but I'm not like a hardcore vampire player, so I can see why some people might be upset. But they were very strong, man. Like as a faction, they still are. So
it's good because Norsca's kind of it counters, I think, vampires very well, and with that Raised Dead mechanic dropping them their. I would say the Raised Dead is a force multiplier too, because it allows you to kind of completely shut down a backline by not even killing it, but just locking it up so it can't come to bear. So that being kind of cycled a little bit helps make it so that you can try to bring an answer to the fore when it comes to vampire count. So I think that's a pretty, that and the fact that Norsca kind of knocks him down a peg or two kind of helps out, I think, too, to make them a little more balanced.
Yep, I agree. I do think that the game is more balanced now than it was, and that's kind of the point, right? That's the point of a patch. But Lore of Metal got, obviously the final transmutation is kind of the new hot shit, that it does twice as much damage. According to them, it does the amount of damage it was supposed to. It was doing half before, and they worked out a bug. But either way, it does twice as much damage. It's a lot better.
That's kind of cool too, because it's like with this huge meta shift with this patch, the quick battles have been way different and way more refreshing. Like I've been playing against Bretonnia a lot more than I have before, like in different matchups and different actual rosters. So,
oh yeah, oh dude, completely different.
And it's been more fun. Like I've enjoyed it. They've basically taken a game that I've been playing for a year and a half now and just said, hey, here's like slight tweaks. In like seconds worth of tweaks, and it completely changes what I'm seeing, and I love it.
Don't you love it, dude?
Oh,
that's Warhammer, man. That's the Warhammer way.
It's funny too, because we were talking about like different editions and shit like that, and it's like, in 8th edition, bringing large beasts was not. It's not like it was not a bad idea, but it's like, oh, you're bringing large beasts, okay, my cannon kills it out.
Could be a liability.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a point though in one of the editions where that was not the case, and I think it was 3rd or 4th edition they used to call Hero Hammer, because you could bring so many heroes and lords and they were so beefy as it was. Like you could kind of look at that as like, I'd say pre-patch, it was kind of Hero Hammer, man. Like, I mean, what lord did you bring? Was it a hard counter? That lord is going to be really one of your saving graces in your army. And now it's kind of like, okay, we scrubbed away the Hero Hammer. We've brought in big creatures that are going to start having a serious effect on the meta, especially a month from now when we bring in much different large creatures. Like I'm very curious to see how High Elves and Dark Elves play with the meta, and how, because I mean where they are ranked in 8th edition is pretty high.
Dude, I can't wait.
Oh,
I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wonder, like, if the whoa. What was that?
That was a water bottle, but I can tell you it sounded something a little suspect.
Dropping a bomb on PodTube again.
I always like to take my dumps during an 1.5 hour long podcast. Really, just kind of seals in the flavor.
But yeah, man, we don't need to talk about the patch. Those are the biggest things. So I think that it's more balanced than it was. Is it perfect? No, but
yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to juggle.
It's a patch. You're always going to have things that were wrong, and things that were really good, and things that were not so great. It's just that it is what it is. I mean, and we're going to get another big patch with the new game. So I'm curious to see how that does too. Speaking of that new game, did you see the new Campania map?
I saw it. It looks like Africa, South America, North America, and Atlantis. Right?
I was staring at Ulthuan because I'm looking at the map right now. I'm like, what's he gonna say Ulthuan is? When you said Atlantis, I was like, yep,
that's what it is.
I think I even called it that in a video, and like, because it's like it totally is. It totally fucking is. Even portions of it are already sunk under the sea.
But yeah, man, this map, I haven't had a lot of time to look at it, because I know. When I was talking to Gabo, he was like, "What are Wood Elves doing in the middle of
the Southlands?"
Yeah, in the middle of the Southlands, and I was like, "Wait, how do you know that they're Wood Elves?" And I guess like it's a tree, and the name is Orion, so I guess contextual.
Well, they
either way, no idea what I'm looking at.
Though they all share the same faction shields, so Orion.
Oh, the shape.
Yeah. Is the same Wood Elf faction shield, and Orion is like a really old Regiment of Renown, like 1983, 1985 Regiment of Renown. Like back when all the shit that used to come out from Warhammer looked like it came out of Heroes of Might and Magic 1, like very like goofy caricature looking fantasy models, or very like somewhat historical looking human things, like all the errantry states, like the Knights of Origo, Orijo, the Knights of the Flames, Thegan's Crusaders, all those are infantry states, and in the Regiments of Renown from like the 80s, they look like just like straight up like fucking, oh, we just copied the Templar Knights and put them into our game. Like that's what they straight up look like.
That's awesome, and yeah, I never would have noticed the shape thing, but that's so cool. So creative. Yeah,
like if you look at like Araby, you see that like there's the infantry states with the three I just mentioned, but there's also what's it called, Sudenburg, and that's shaped like an Empire shield, so that's totally going to be Empire.
Okay, so let's see here. So the three at the bottom are Vampire Count. So yeah, Vampire Coast.
Yeah, Vampire Coast, you have the Neckarch Brotherhood, and then you got the Strigos Empire. And that's all where the Land of the Dead. That's right where Khemri is. So you know,
where are the Tomb Kings? Yeah, where are the Tomb Kings?
Oh, they're coming.
In that green box.
What people think that is like they're either going to remove some of these factions and add them, or these ruins are going to stand for some factions that are yet to come. So I'm not sure though, but they said that the ruins are going to actually have a mechanic where you can plunder them and get artifacts and shit like that. So, I mean, you look at Lustria. Lustria is almost entirely ruins, which is kind of cool. So, I don't know.
It's huge. There's so many factions.
Yeah, and that was one thing that someone on the Reddit posted out or pointed out, is that they're breaking the faction mechanic. They're going back to like the Rome days of like, okay, we don't just have a Rome faction. We have the Triarii, we have the Scipii, we have the Romani, where it's like, or whatever the other one was, whatever the Caesar's one was, or no, Brudi, like the three different factions of Rome. So rather than having that, we've got, you know, Lothar and Aberlorn, Calidor, Trace, Kothic, Illyrian, Saffrey, so on and so forth. So I'm excited that they're doing that, because it makes the game harder, but more fun.
Yeah.
Like I love Rome Total War
1. Yeah, man, it's gonna be this. They're really stepping up the campaign and single player, and that's good, because I think I saw a statistic that's where a huge majority of the player base mostly plays.
Right.
And I don't blame them. It's super fun.
I mean, it's different every time. You know, you never know what's gonna happen, and I mean, they even did that huge overhaul to the Empire AI, because the Empire was just getting its ass put into it every time you played them in the as a faction as an AI.
Yeah, that's what I gathered. That's like, so when I play campaigns, like I take my sweet ass time and like I totally just I play it like Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Like, I just like, you know, so I wouldn't have noticed so much like that something was that bugged, but I know that there are people that play a new campaign all the time, so I'm glad that they fixed that.
You know, it's interesting too, you bring that up. Like, I used to play Heroes of Might and Magic 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and
the best.
Yeah, right. 3 was so goddamn good, and like, okay, I'd have one castle and I'd have one hero, and I'd only focus on that hero, and eventually I'd make one other hero to bring me units from my capital, to inflate my army. Like I would never focus on multiple armies. But it's like the more I get into, I guess, the competitive scene and the power gaming scene of Total War Warhammer, people say, oh no, you gotta do this, and this. And I'm like, shit. I never would have thought of that. I just would have had one super general and maybe another, like, I always tend to, like, especially in Total War games, I always make one general that's all cavalry, because I'm like, the Riders of Rohan are badass. So I always had like something like that, but like the people we play with have all these great ways of approaching the campaign that I never thought of. And because I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna slowly and meticulously make my way through the nations. Well, like they're like saying, hey, you have to control four things by turn 5. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not prepared.
I mean, you know it's good when it provides that many various experiences and that much hours of entertainment that's different. I mean, that says it all.
Oh yeah, like, oh man, I did not expect a map reveal like this. Like, maybe just to show the map, but like this shows so much. Like Lustria, Ulthuan, Nagaroth, Southlands. Like, what race aside, which continent are you most excited for?
I mean, I'm most interested in Nagaroth. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm most interested in kind of seeing how I've obviously seen like the cinematics and stuff, but kind of how they really portray like the cold, desolate, torturous, completely psychopathic, like everything, right? The slavers, the ships, the navies. I'm super interested in the navies. I know that obviously there's no sea battles, but Dark Elves and High Elves were kings, right? Kings of the sea.
Yeah. Karen Carr, Kothic and Ivris, all about that sea action.
And yeah, Lustria. I'm excited. I'm excited about everything. I mean, the Southlands, like I like it. I like that, like now that Norsca's possible, like anything's possible, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I like the promise that it brings, but I think right off the bat, I'm interested in like the ones that I kind of know.
Yeah, like I'm sure, like I would love to see Tomb Kings. So Tomb Kings have a fucking gorgeous model line. Like it would be so great to see a lot of their units. But I'm really excited to see what they do for High Elves and Dark Elves, because of course those are going to be my two favorites. B, what kind of unique Skaven mechanics they bring in, but more so than the actual race DLCs, I'm excited to see how they expand on the current race DLCs like they did for Total War Warhammer 1. Like what legendary lores they add, or what units they decide to add, or what have you. What factions, I guess. I mean, like, everything seems so detailed and in it that I'm like right now I'm kind of like blinded by what's in front of me, and I'm like, there's nothing missing, but I know there's stuff missing. My brain's like not on top of it right now, but like
they leave their windows open for later.
Yeah, and it just is so good.
I'm so curious about how Skaven are gonna play. I can't wait. I just want to see, like I want to see how Doom Wheels, like how they function on the battlefield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and now that we see Queek Headtaker as one of the legendary lords, and we see that, okay, so you see on the map, Southlands, you see the large ruins. That's clearly going to be like, so you notice the larger symbols are the starting positions. So Lothern has got a larger flag than the rest of them, and
okay. Yep.
Hexawattle. Okay, so you look at the two southern tips of the Southlands and Lustria. You see where the Skaven are going to start. The Lost Valley is clearly Pestilence, because that's all green and shit. Then the red, the Southern Jungles. I'm going to say it's Clan Moors, because that's Queek Headtaker, and Queek Headtaker's in Clan Moors. So it's like, I don't know how they're going to do this, like how they're going to do the Skaven. There's so many options. They surprised me so much with Norsca that I don't know.
I think that so Skaven, they're so there's a comical aspect to them, right?
Oh yeah, so much so.
And like kind of a cowardly aspect to them. They're kind of goblin-y, right? But even more
sinister and deceitful.
Yeah, even more sneaky. Yeah, exactly. Sinister and deceitful. But also like technologically, like, all the warp dust, all the warp powered shit, the javelin,
The cocaine.
Like that's gonna be crazy. Yeah, they just snort a bunch of like warp cocaine and ride the battle with their fucking like lightning green Necron guns. It's awesome.
I'm so excited to see, like, because that'll be a very different appearance on the battlefield. Like, we've seen Skaven in tabletop, and we've seen Skaven in like the arts and art drawings and everything, but like to see them on this game is going to be pretty cool, because just like you said, they're going to have like Necron-esque level, like green energy bolts shooting from their weapons. Like, it's going to be really fucking so cool to see them on the battlefield, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they get to be brought to life. The same reason you and I were like brought to this game was because it brought like all the shit that we like, but we're basically painting ourselves to life, right? So it would be awesome to see that with Skaven as well. Everything. Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, then, if High Elves, because I know you want to play High Elves, but if High Elves didn't exist, who would you play first?
Actually, I'm kind of thinking Lizardmen. Now, yeah, it would be Lizardmen. It's between Tyrion and
Kroq-Gar.
Kroq-Gar, yeah, Kroq-Gar.
Dude, you see where Kroq-Gar starts, though, right? The back ass end of Southlands.
Enlighten me.
So if you look on the map, the Bitter Sea has got that little lizard with the tongue coming out of it, the little blue.
Yes, blue and orange.
Yep.
Okay.
That's Kroq-Gar's starting spot.
Oh,
or at least, I
really?
mean, like, so he's the last defenders, and that's a larger lizardman symbol. So that's just what I'm thinking. Because also, if you look at the top of every single one of these, if you look at High Elves, it says Lothar and Order of Lore Masters. You look at Dark Elves, it says Nagaron and Cult of Pleasure. Lizardmen, it says Hexwaddle and Last Defenders. If you look at where the Skaven are, that says, okay, here's some fucking Benedict Cumberbatch.
Lay it on me.
Detective work. So that's, if you look at the where Skaven would be, that's an Skaven. That totally spells into the top part. Someone on Reddit showed that.
Wait. What?
So the question marks. The question marks.
The question marks. Yep.
1, 2.
Oh, the number of them.
Yeah, those.
Gotcha.
You could write Skaven in all those.
Okay.
The first 4 letters of each one of those things separated by a space is clan.
Clan. Yeah.
And then the first one is Moors, and the second one is Pestilence. So the first 2 of each one of these races is the starting locations of their respective lords.
Dude, how are you so smart?
I'm not. I just read a lot of the Reddit, and a lot of like intuition kicks in.
I love it, dude. I love it.
But okay, so why Lizardmen? What made you want to?
I mean, I told you, like back in the day, like no joke, the 3 races that like I played are 3 of these races, and Lizardmen were one of them. I don't think that they've overtaken. Like Tyrion is just so dope. Speaking of that, where is he? Is he gonna be Lothern?
Mm-hmm.
So why? I guess.
Well, in the Tyrion Teclis novels, like he spends a lot of his time in Eataine and in Lothern, with like Corahil, the dude, the
White Lion.
Yeah, the White Lion. Yeah, with the White Lion dude. And he spends a lot of time in Averlorn, kind of going back and forth, just slaying through the Everqueen.
Yeah, banging the Everqueen.
Yeah, dude, just fucking like pulling her hair. And then what's his name? Teclis goes on a shit ton of like little missions all over the place. So it makes sense to me that the Order of Lore Masters and everything is all the way down here in the Turtle Isles.
Oh, yeah, because he's like a humanitarian high elf.
Yeah, he's the one who teaches all the Empire, like, hey, here's the gift of magic.
Here's magic.
Let's start the school of witchcraft and Harry Potter.
What a mistake.
I know, right? He's responsible for Balthazar Gelt. Teclis is an asshole.
Dude, Gelt is the new Mammoth Slayer.
Is he?
I mean, no, not really.
Oh man, I thought you were going to tell me just like a tidbit I had no idea about. I can take Balthazar Gelt every time I take Empire against Norsca.
Plague of Rust, the Overcast one, does -60 damage, or -60 armor, sorry, and that's a lot.
Substantial.
So I think not really, but I don't know. Gelt's all right. Gelt gets too people are too hard on him.
I think so too, but he is the face of the Emperor. So when Total War Warhammer 2, there we go, comes out, we definitely got to do a campaign, because I want to do, if I don't do High Elves, I'll do Dark Elves, because Dark Elves are fucking great.
Dude, yeah.
I can't wait to see their magic. Oh yeah.
Can you do you have to play against each other? Like if we were both, like if I was like, yeah, I'll play Teclis, like that would be awesome. Could we play? Would we be rivals or?
Well, funny you bring that up. I was actually going to bring that up earlier. So this is going to allow you to do co-op campaign of the same faction.
Okay, that was my confusion.
So I can play Lothar and you can play Order of Lore Masters.
So sick, dude.
What I'm wondering, that is damn new. That's awesome as hell. I'm so excited for it, because I'm wondering are they going to share income, or is it going to be separate factions but kind of allied together?
How was it in Heroes? You did not share income if you were allies.
I think you could choose to.
Oh, you could. Oh yeah, you're right. You could choose. Yep.
You could have like share or something like that. So I don't know how they'll do it. It'll be pretty interesting. I'm even excited they added like Fortress of Dawn, the Citadel of Dusk, like all sorts of like little
lots of detail.
Yeah, very little detail too. Like Dracula Coven, that's made up. It's not there. I mean, there's Dracula Spire, but there's nothing like special about them. Like they took a lot of really cool liberties, I think, and that's what I'm really excited about.
It's gonna be so sick. So what else are you working on, dude? I know it's getting late.
Oh yeah. So did I just press?
what's next on your radar, if you don't mind? If you don't
No,
want to say it.
absolutely. I pressed escape and I thought that's like quit something. So I was like, oh shit, are we still recording? I'm working on so a lot of you guys have said that you like the videos on the gods and the pantheons, and you wanted to know more about the human gods, the elf gods, the dwarf gods. So I'm working on a dwarf god video for this week. I'm going to be doing now a video on the errantry states and Carrick Zorn, because that's now extremely relevant, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering who the errantry states are, where they're from, and all that action, since there's so little about that in like you have to go literally back like over 25 years to find fucking information on them. But I mean, that's kind of what I've got planned, and some quick battles. But
I love your lore videos, man.
Thanks, dude.
They're so good.
They're not I don't have the fancy fucking pro skills for Premiere pro skills that you do, but
you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need anything.
It's all just silky jazz.
Just your
voice.
Lovely voice and your huge hard brain.
Huge throbbing brain. What about what do you got on the docket?
So I was kind of thinking about like doing a little like Mammoth Slayer video, but in a way of like the quickest ways to kill a war mammoth, right? Like the little combos, like that Plague of Rust plus like, you know, crossbows or handguns or whatever combo, or Lore of Heavens, Curse of the Midnight Wind, you know, plus peasant bows, like the ways that do it in the shortest amount of time, but kind of like make it bite-sized. I like little stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I think that's the best format too. I think a lot of people, and you guys can let us know, I think a lot of people appreciate a video that's really only like, I know when I'm like trying to type in like, okay, how to do this or that, if it's really like over 10 minutes, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna watch it. So if it's a bite size, like how many factions are there now? There's Empire, Vampire Counts, Dwarves, Greenskins, Norsca, Chaos, Bretonnia, Wood Elves. Like I'm forgetting one.
I don't know. So like say 10.
Let's just say 10 for using math. If you did a 10-minute video with a minute each of like,
it's no time.
What?
I was gonna say like, yeah, it's like no time, but sorry.
I thought you said nap time. I'm like, what? We're taking naps, motherfucker? I want to take one. Yeah. That's one thing I miss about fucking growing older. You can't take a fucking nap without fucking getting bitched at. But yeah, if you like a 10-minute video like that, like I'm sure that a lot of people would love that, because like, okay, you could say Bretonia's at minute 7, jump to, I always play Bretonia, jump to minute 7. Okay. Oh, so this is how I deal with that. Great. Like, I'm sure that like that would be huge, because we're going to be seeing mammoths and large creatures quite a bit here in the next couple months and the next year and a half or so, until we get Total War Warhammer 3.
Right. We better get used to taking them down for sure.
Seriously.
But yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. This was super fun as it was last time, and as I expect that it will be. How was the you did the lore podcast as well? What did you guys cover in that? Well,
I think so. Lore Master of Sotek and I really just talked about a lot of like. So Lore Master of Sotek's been playing a long time too. He got into the game around the same time I did, and we kind of did the same thing you and I did initially. We were just kind of nerded out on the beginning portions of it. We talked a little bit of speculation about the lore behind a lot of the Skaven clans and the such, but for the most part, it was.
I was gonna say it's the best, man. Just chilling and talking, you know.
Oh, yeah, just nerding out hardcore. We're just hardcore nerd boners ever, just touching tips. So
it's been really fun.
On that though, who would you want to see with us? Like, I'd love to do like a threesome, a menage a trois of personalities. Who would be your dream person to have on the podcast? Man, I'll go hunt the fuck out of them.
Anybody, man. Like I love Torn. I told you, you know, Torn and you were, you know, huge inspirations for me to even try to do this. I think he's super smart. I think Gabo King is super smart. But man, you know, I'm not quite as versed in the personalities, but as long as no one seems like a dick, so you know, anyone that's cool and has something to say, just chill, you know, chill and talk.
Yeah. Well, I know I talked to a couple people and we'll get them on board. Like, I know Gobble King was down for it, so hopefully we'll have Gobble King joining us. Turn gets back in September. And he said he'll definitely be down for a podcast, but I've been talking to like NF General and Indie Pride and stuff like that, so we'll definitely be able to get them up on this piece.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, it's like the more the merrier. Like the community, especially in the content creation community too. Like there's so much stuff out there, you know?
Oh, yeah. And I don't think there's a lot of formats like this, a lot of mediums like this, or at least forums like this, where people can hear the way the content creators talk and how passionate we really are about all this. Like, we're not just like people that make content because we're in like a game developer's pocket. Like, we make this content because it's like, I wake up every morning and I look over and I look at my bookcase and it's filled to the brim with like White Dwarfs and like Games Workshop stuff and stuff like that. And my girlfriend's like, "What's that stuff?" I'm like, "It's nothing, babe. You wouldn't understand the dark side."
Dude, you haven't told her yet.
Oh no, she knows. She's always like, "I want to watch you paint." I'm like, "You're like my French women, Jack." But
that's cool, man. Yeah, my fiance is super supportive.
She's like, "Whatever you want, dear." You're like, "I just want to paint."
It definitely helps. But yeah, man, we should do this again soon, and the more the merrier. Like I said last time.
Yeah. So let's close this podcast out with a little thing I want to maybe start doing a reoccurring with a little game called a Would You Rather. So Coda Total War. Would you rather have an orc eat food out of your mouth, or have to give Kolek a sponge bath, and he may or may not have a hard on?
Dude, an orc eat out of your mouth?
Yeah, like let's say you have your mouth open and your head is cocked up, and he's just eating out of your mouth, like hands in there, tongue in there, his lips just grinding up against your teeth.
Would Kolek be trying to kill me?
No, he would just be looking at you lustfully. Maybe mouth breathing.
Yeah, whatever. I'd wash Kolek's sack, whatever.
Just fucking go at his velvet merkin with a fucking steel wool brush. Oh. Well, thanks for joining me here today, man. This was a good one. And thanks for watching here tonight, guys, or today, or whatever time you watch this. We got more goodies planned for Coda. We do have a link after this video to check out his channel, so go take a look at his channel, and a link to the very first podcast we did together. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for joining Coda. Have a good one.
Thanks for having me, man. I had a lot of fun as always. Guys, thank you for listening. And I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, take care.